So today we are going to be making a zipped makeup bag, and it is fully lined, as you can see. It has little zipper tabs at either end. You can put them in the same or a different colour. I've done mine in a different colour, but it's totally up to you. And yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so you should have 2 lining pieces, 2 main pieces, 2 zipper tabs, and a zip. This one is 8 inches, I think. Yeah, 8 inches long. But you can go longer and then just shorten the zip if needs be. So I'll show you how to do that in a wee minute. So first of all, we are going to interface our main pieces. Excuse my scruffy iron board. Okay, so you're going to put your main pieces wrong sides facing up. I have cut interfacing just slightly bigger than my pieces just to make life a bit easier. So if you feel the glue side, you want that facing the wrong side of your outer fabric. Okay. So put the interfacing on, you just press the iron down for about 5 seconds, lift, move across, and keep doing this then until the whole piece has been stuck down. Okay, we'll do that for both pieces then. Okay. Peel this off. You might want to put a wee, like a bit of cotton or something down beforehand just to stop it sticking to your ironing board, but I'm not fussy with this one because I use it all the time for sticking stuff down. So then all the excess, you basically just want to cut that off so it's down to the same size that it was before. Okay, there we go. Okay, I also like to mark the halfway point at the top of these. Just helps whenever you're trying to put the zip in. So this is a water erasable pen, but you can use like the heat erasable pens as well, and they'll do the same job. Okay, so the top of the bag, by the way, is the bit that doesn't have the cutouts. There we go, that's all the centers done. Okay, so next thing we are going to move on to is the zipper tabs. So you want to put them the longest way, fold that in half. Just give it a wee press. And then open that out. The wee crease mark that you have there, you want to fold those ends up towards that. And do the same for the other side. And then just fold that back in half along that original crease mark that you made. Okay, and that's it prepped. We'll do the same with the other one. So longest side, you're folding that in half. Okay, open it back up and fold those edges up towards the crease. half again. Okay, and that's those prepped as well. Okay, so the next step then is going to bring your zipper over. So we basically want our zip to be 1/2 inch shorter than the top of the bag. So if your zip's longer, cut it down. Mine isn't actually too long, but what I'm going to do is just cut right beside this little metal bit here, the stopper. So if I cut that there, okay. Oh, what to do with my clips? I don't know. Okay, so what you want to do then is open that up and put it over. So whenever you go to sew this, you don't want to be sewing on the metal bit. So that's why I cut it quite close there. So whenever I fold that over, I'm going to sew, let me clip this. I'm going to sew right along here, which means I'm not going to hit the metal bit and it's not going to break a needle. Okay, so just check this on your bag because you want this to be about 1/2 inch shorter on either end. So I don't really need to take anything off this end. So what I can do then is just pull that little zip back out of the road and open this, and then just sandwich it in between and grab a couple of clips again. Okay, and again we're going to take this over to the sewing machine and just sew along that wee edge and this wee edge here. Okay, so what we're going to do is just put this underneath your presser fit. Put your foot down, slide the pedal. Okay, so you're just going to sew straight across. If you're worried about going over your zip, you can do the hand wheel on the side of the machine. Just keep bringing it towards yourself and it'll manually go over the zip. But if you're using a plastic zip, it should be fine. I never had any issues really. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so then you want to do the same for the other side. So just make sure you're definitely catching your zip right up in against that. Put your foot down. Okay, and just so. So you should have your wee zipper ends on now. What you're going to do is, see the way it's just slightly longer than the zip, you just want to balance that out. So just trim off that wee excess. Like that, so it's the same size as the zip. Okay, so there we go. Now what I like to do is find the center of your zip and mark it with your little pen again on both sides. Okay, so there we go, we've got our 2 wee dots. Okay, so we're going to take our outer fabric or our main fabric and put it right sides up. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to put your zip facing down, and see your wee points that you made earlier, you're going to match them up. Oh, I'm just going to get my pins. Okay, so you're going to match those wee points, put a wee pin in there. We go over slightly actually. Still want to leave myself a bit of room either side. So generally you want to have about 1/2 inch either side, in and around. Then you're going to take your lining piece and you're going to put it right sides facing with your other fabric, and you're going to match your wee points up again. And just pin the whole way across. Just making sure that you've got both layers and your zip right up in between. So if it's sort of starting to fall down, just slide it back up again. Push it down, it sort of snaps off. And then for this one, there's two sides. So you'll just have a look and see what side you need to be on. You might need to change it over for the other side, but for this side that we're going to be doing, we're going to be putting it on the left-hand side. So just put it down, move it over so you're sitting on the left, snap it into place, and that's you set up, ready to go. Okay. And you can feel the zipper. So what you want to do is start sewing where you're at the edge, sorry, of the fabric. Okay, and then as you come up to the zipper, just do a wee back stitch. Sort of push it under where you've got the wee stopper bits at the end of your zipper. And then if you feel, so my zip is actually here, you can feel it's quite hard. So you want to come up close to it, but not too close. So I would stop about there. Keep your needle down in the fabric. And then go in between the layers and just pull that zip out of the way, if I can get it. Where's it hiding on me? Pull the zip back up to the top, out of the road. Okay, and then just start sewing again. I haven't managed to put that out of the road. Hang on. I have to just pull it the other direction first. So, okay. Try this again. So, sew down a bit more. Out of the way. Keep your zip down, or your needle down. Right, now move the zip out of the way. If your needle's down, you can lift your presser foot. Should be able to wiggle it past it. There we go. Put your foot back down and then continue sewing. If your fabric starts to bubble up like this, just lift your presser foot and sort of smooth it out. Because you don't want to end up with a wee ripple bit in it. Just keep sewing. Back stitch and take it out. Okay, just get rid of these extra threads at the end. Okay. Then if you open it out like that, you can give it a wee press at this stage, but I am a bit of a lazy sewist, so I will not. Now what you're going to do is you're going to just top stitch. So just a wee line of stitching along here, but you want these two to be on top of each other. So I am actually going to swap the zipper foot over so it's sitting on the right hand side of it now. Just makes life a wee bit easier sewing this part. Okay, and just put your foot down again. Okay, and then just keep wiggling it and making sure you're keeping both of the layers even. You can hold it from the bottom end if you want. Take it out. There we go. Not very even, but it'll be fine. And just trim off your threads on the side of your machine. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just move that machine back a little bit. So put your right side facing up, and then if you use your zip, you're going to put your zip facing down onto this. Match up your little dots from earlier. And then you're going to put your other lining fabric with the right sides facing the other lining bit on top and sandwich all 3 layers again. And then what you're going to do is just pin again, just make sure you're getting all 3 layers. Probably should have picked a lighter lining fabric, but hey ho. Okay, so again, just pull your zip up to meet the other layer, so you're definitely going to catch all 3. So they just slip down slightly, just pull it up a little tiny bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring the machine back over, switch my foot back over to the left hand side. Just checking to make sure that my zip, see where it's hiding, it's down this end. So we're going to sew down so far, and then I'll move the zip. Okay, so do your back stitch. Don't forget to pull your needles out of the way as well. As you go. Okay, so I would start maybe about there. Put your needle down into the fabric. And then we're gonna try and find a zip somewhere. Maybe to pull these out a wee minute. There we go. Got it. Okay. There we go. Let's zip out of the way. And then again, just check and make sure you're getting all 3 layers there. Put your foot back down and continue sewing. I'll do a wee back stitch. Okay, take it out again and just trim off those threads. Okay, And then if we open this out, so open it right out like that. So on this side you should have the inner fabric and the outer fabric, and the same on the other side. Okay, you can close your zip back up. And then for sewing down this side, we can actually just leave the zipper foot in that position, it's fine. Put your foot down. And then just sew 3 top stitch. Again, just making sure you're sort of pulling these layers back. Backstitch again at the end. Okay, so again, trim your threads. Okay, and now what we're going to do is you're going to take your outer fabric and put it right sides together. And same with the inner fabric, and we're going to pin these sides. Just match your wee seams up. When you come to sew this, it might be a wee bit bulky here, but just go slow and take your time. So pin all the straight edges. I like to pin the start and the end, and then pin in between, because then it looks, sometimes it looks a wee bit bigger on one side, but generally if you pull it taut, it fits. Never had any issues doing it that way. Okay, so on your lining at the bottom, so that's where these wee cutout bits are, you're going to leave an opening, I would say, what, about 3 inches? Just means then that you can turn the whole bag through, and it will make your life a little bit easier. Okay, so actually I would sew it with 1/4 of an inch. Take your zipper foot off and sew it with 1/4 of an inch. So that's just lining it up with the edge of your presser foot. Okay. So back stitch. this is the bulky bit we're coming up to. If it's struggling, just give it a wee tiny tug at the back. Okay, and you can turn your fabric. Do a wee back stitch. Okay, and then do along the bottom here. Take it out again. Trim your threads. Okay, and then we're going to sew up the side as well. Give it a wee tug. And you might need to turn to get the angle again. Okay, so now we're on the bottom edge of the lining fabric. So we're going to sew up to this first wee pin and then leave this wee opening, do a wee back stitch, leave a wee opening, start here, do a wee back stitch and sew to the end and then back stitch again. Back stitch. You don't actually even need to take it out, you can just bring it forward like that. Do the back stitch. Okay, we should have actually left the zip open, but it's fine. If you go in through one of your wee holes at the bottom, and just feel to see where your zip is. Okay, and then open that up. That'll just make your life easier afterwards. So now the bottom corners, what we're going to do is open up the seam allowance. Both sides. And bring those together. And just pin your seam allowances open. It just makes your life a wee bit easier whenever you go to sew it. Okay, and just straighten up those edges. Pin. Same for that wee edge. Okay, so like that. And you're going to repeat this then for all 4 corners. And I like to just sew this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so just line it up with the edge of your presser fit. And trim your wee threads. and that will be the wee corner done. So again, carry on, do all 4. So open your seam allowances up. It's being tricky here, isn't it? There we go. Open them up, open the other side up, and just put them seams together. Pin the seam allowances down. I'll flatten that out. Okay, and again, just line that up with the edge of your presser fit. Trim your threads again. Okay, where is my scissors? Oh, scissors there. Okay, so just trimming these wee ones in between and any other loose thread you have hanging about. Okay, so you're going to go through the lining hole that we left earlier and just feed all this through, and knowing me, I have left a hole that's too small. Wouldn't politely. But just keep stuffing it in and stuffing it in. Just go a little bit at a time and it should all just pull through. Okay, once you've got majority of it through, you can just start pulling it through from the other side. Okay, so pull everything through and wiggle out your corners as well, just so they're not sitting in. Okay, and do the same for your lining. You can actually poke your finger in through the hole to get the ones on the lining. Okay, now what you want to do on your lining, so my lining is the denim, if you poke that, your seam allowance in there, and then just sort of hold it taut. Hold on, so wiggle it through. Right, okay, and then just hold that taut. Put a few wee pins in. You can close this by hand, but it's going to be on the inside, so nobody's going to see it. So it's personal preference if you want to close it by hand and have it totally invisible, or if you just want to sew to get the hole closed, you want to sew very, very close to this edge. You can do it, like you can change your thread and match it in if you really, really want to, but again, I am not particularly fussy. Nobody's really going to see it. So just put it under your machine. The thread's near going to disappear on me here. Can I catch it? Yes, got it. Okay, so we back stitch. And then just sew very close to the edge. And trim off all your excess threads. Okay, so it is visible, but nobody's really going to see it, and it's going to be inside the bag. Then poke everything through. Poke your wee corners of your bag so that everything's sitting nicely. Push these wee bits up. There we go. You can just zip that shut, and there you have a cute little makeup bag or cosmetic bag. And then from the inside we'll have the denim, and you can just really see that wee tiny bit at the bottom, but it's not that big a deal. But yeah, there you go.